So this is a composition called Bhajagovindam or Moha Mudkara. That's another title for this text, composed by Shankaracharya of the 8th century, who is the exponent of Vedanta and who retrieved Hinduism from its philosophical and ritualistic decadence in the 8th century. The Hinduism as we know today takes its inspiration from the teachings and the writings and the works of Shankaracharya. But for him, we would not be Hindus today. We would have been Buddhist. The Shankaracharya who went all around and then propagated the neo-Hinduism, the new Hinduism. And he culled the basic ideas from the Vedas and the Upanishads and the Brahma Sutras. And he wrote commentaries for them. Went all around India, north, south, east, west, established mud, and then revived Hinduism. So we cannot forget the contribution of Shankaracharya for the revival of Hinduism. He snatched Hinduism from the jaws of Buddhism. That was the greatest glory of Shankaracharya. And we will feel proud that Shankaracharya belonged to Kerala, to Kaladi, near Ernakulam. So you must feel great pride in that he was one among us, and he still lives in his writings and in his teachings. So Shankaracharya composed some of these verses. There are about 30 verses in this, and about half of these verses are composed by Shankara, and the other half were composed by his disciple. So this is a joint effort of Shankaracharya and his disciple. So in the first 6 slokas, and this Bhajagovindam was very popular once upon a time. Every village, every street, every house, children used to sing these verses, Bhajagovindam. And they are very musical. And it's like a lullaby, it goes on and on. Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam, Govindam Bhaja. Mudhamade, Samprapte, Sannihide, Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshadi, Dukrinshkana. Very musical. Like a lullaby, children's song. Nowadays you hear children's song in English, in Hindi, in Malayalam. They don't convey much. Tingle, tingle, little star, how I wonder what you are. These kind of songs. But once upon a time, children used to sing Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam. Sing the glory of God. Sing the glory of God. This is how the Bhajagovindam goes. So, very popular, everybody used to chant this, and the children used to be nourished by these verses. Along with the mother's milk, children learned these Bhajagovindam. But nowadays I find nobody knows it. Only some old people, retired people, when they have nothing else to do, they chant this. But once upon a time, it was chanted by young children. And that's the difference. Spirituality is definitely for young people, of course for old people also. There is no difference between young and old as far as spirituality is concerned. Now, in the initial 5 slokas, Shankaracharya talks about 5 fetters, 5 bondages, 5 attachments, 5 type of egos that we all suffer from as human beings, because of which we suffer in life, because of these attachments. And what are those attachments which cause us suffering? If you handle them properly, they become opportunities for us. But if you don't know how to handle them, then they become attachments. What are those attachments which Shankaracharya cautions human beings against? You should be very, very careful about these 5 traps or attachments in life, because of which you suffer. And what are they? The first attachment is towards knowledge. Attachment to knowledge, which makes you a very egoistic person. If you read a couple of books, you write a book, maybe, or you collect a few books, and you borrow some ideas from books, and then you feel you are on top of the world. You don't have any respect for anybody, any sensitivity towards anybody. You become so bloated and egoistic because of the knowledge perpetually you have. So we can have attachment to knowledge and develop an ego about that. And you feel superiority complex vis-a-vis others, which creates unhappiness and bondage. So bondage due to attachment to scholarship and knowledge. That is one thing Shankaracharya talks about. Haven't you heard that story? A Nampudri, a very scholarly Nampudri, he was crossing a river in a boat, and he was ridiculing the boat man, saying that, have you studied Vedas? He says, no, half of your life is gone. Have you studied Puranas? He says, no, I had no time to study Purana. I was doing this work all my life. I helped my father. My father used to do this, and I helped him. So I had no time to read Puranas. Quarter of your life is gone. Have you read Bhagavad Gita? He said, no, I have not even heard the name of Bhagavad Gita. The rest of your life is over. By the time comes a big rain, and the water of the river rose up, and the boat started rocking. And then the boatman asked him, Tirumeni, Nampudri, do you know swimming? So he said, no, I spent all my studying Vedas, Puranas, Upanishads. Your whole life is finished, he says. If you don't know swimming now, because the water is going up, the boat is rocking, it may capsize and you may fall into the water. And if you don't know swimming, sir, your life is finished. So your attachment to knowledge can of course give you certain comfort, certain understanding about life. But if you develop an ego regarding it, must make you humble. Vidya dadadi vinayam. So it's not that Shankaracharya is against knowledge or scholarship. Scholarship is very important. But scholarship should not make you an egoistic, arrogant, exclusive, elitist person. You must feel humbler. You must share your knowledge with others. Your knowledge is not for you. It is for the service of humanity. God has given you, blessed you with the knowledge. Shankara says, don't have any arrogance due to knowledge. Knowledge must make you humble. Like a branch of a tree, when it is full of ripe fruits, the branch will bend down in humility, isn't it? Similarly, when you have knowledge, you must bend your head in humility, because God has chosen you to become the carrier of knowledge. Otherwise, knowledge has no meaning at all. Knowledge without humility is a very, very difficult situation. It will create more problems for you and others. So first he says, attachment to knowledge should go. That does not mean you should not pursue knowledge. Pursue knowledge, but don't be egoistic about it. We all are attached to wealth. We enjoy displaying our wealth, talking about our wealth, and showing the pomp and pageantry that goes with the wealth. So then we become very attached and egoistic about wealth, because of which we forget about God. We forget about the other aspects of life. So he said this extreme attachment to wealth can create problems. And you all know that wealth is necessary, but it is not sufficient for a happy life. There was a king who went into the forest hunting. because kings have this pastime of hunting. Goes deep into the forest. Then he got alienated from his assistants, his troops. He went deep into somewhere and he got alone. He lost contact with his people. And in the depth of the forest, he felt so hungry and thirsty. And he was so thirsty, he wanted desperately some water. And no water was available anywhere. And then he saw another hunter, a jungli, a person who lives in the forest. He had some water in a jug, a kind of a leather jug. He had some water. So the king saw him and he was desperately trying for water. And this man came. And king said, please give me some water, I will touch your feet. Which he has never done. Everybody was touching his feet. Now for the first time the king, I'll touch your feet, sir. Can I get some water? So this man asked, what will you give me in return? I can give you. I have 2 glasses of water. One I want to drink for myself. Another I can give you. What will you give me in return? The king said, if you give me a glass of water, I will give you half my kingdom. Then he said, promise. He said, yes. And the king promised him half his kingdom for a glass of water. But that water was too small. He couldn't quench his thirst. Then again he said, I need some more water. So he said, I have one more glass of water, which is meant for myself. I can give you, but what will you give me in return? So the cost is already set, the price is already set, isn't it? One glass of water has the kingdom, and the other glass of water, another, have the kingdom. The king said, I surrender all my kingdom at your feet, but give me a glass of water so that I can quench my thirst. So what avail is the kingdom when you are hungry and thirsty? That's your fundamental need. And the kingdoms won't satisfy your needs when you are alone in a desert, in the deep jungle. So from this the king understood what is important is not mere wealth. So Shankara says, don't develop any arrogance or ego because of your wealth. Wealth is a gift, and that wealth is to be used for common good, not for promoting your personal ego. Use it for common good, public service. Certain knowledge is to be used for common good and public service. This is all taught long back. Even now, that's the basics of ethics, isn't it? Use your knowledge for common good. Use your wealth for common good, common weal. That's the basics of ethics. Nowadays we talk a lot about ethics. So that's the second ego, second trap, second attachment. Attachment to your wealth. And the more you have, the more you want. Greed. It breeds greed. And the more greedy you are, the more impoverished you become internally. Internally you become a poor man. Externally you are a rich man.